Hi there, it's Andrew. Welcome back to the channel. This is my second attempt at recording this video. I was halfway through the first one when my alarm went off because I was doing laundry and I forgot to turn it off. So here we go again. As I said in the first time that you didn't see, I'm gonna try to start doing these videos a bit more frequently. There was I think 4 or 5 months between my first and my second video on the channel, and now that I'm done my master's, I want to try to do this a bit more consistently and kind of get into the booktube community a bit. I'm also trying to figure out my positioning. We'll see what this one's like. I just thought this was cool because it shows off these art pieces, which is really cool. They're from a Toronto shop and artist collective called Secret Planet. They're awesome. They're these kind of cool tourism posters of the galaxy. So I thought it was kind of fitting for the channel and for this video, but we'll see. I might be in different places. Anyway, I'm rambling. So today I wanted to do a video about some of the series that I'm currently in the middle of and hope to continue this year and make some progress in this year. Some of them are really short, or I'm near the end of, so I'll probably finish it this year because I have one book left, and then some of them are really long or ongoing series that'll take me years. But yeah, so here's some of the stories that I'm kind of working through right now. So to start out, I just started this a few days ago, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I'm about halfway through, and I'm loving it so far. It's definitely heavy and dark, as I kind of knew going into it, but there's also this kind of sense of camaraderie and like, I don't know, I don't want to say there's a lightness to it because it's not light, it's pretty heavy through and through. But it's more enjoyable than I thought, at least so far. I think things are about to start getting pretty dark. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's a really cool magic system. Everyone, well, I don't know. A lot of people hate on Rin. So far, I find her completely sympathetic. But yeah, I'll probably do a review for this book, or maybe I'll wait until I do the whole trilogy, which I'm gonna do in the next month or two, so maybe. But yeah, I'm loving this so far. And then we have, this is the 5th book in Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files. This is Death Masks. I've been kind of taking this series slowly. I started maybe a year and a half ago, but I'm loving it. Like, these are really great. They're pretty short. They usually take place over like a weekend or a week max. They're kind of good supernatural urban fantasy detective stories. They've got a great sense of humor. They read, really quickly, but apparently they do kind of build and kind of there's a momentum to them. So I'm excited to do this one and hopefully start to move through it a bit quicker. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this series. We then have, this is an author, I mean, it's not really a series, it's multiple series, but in an overarching world. So this is Brandon Sanderson's The Cosmere. Brandon Sanderson, huge, and he's one of the big authors that I got into a couple years ago that got me back into reading fantasy. So there's a few books by him here. I'm just counting The Cosmere as like one series. So the next book I'll probably do is Warbreaker, which is deceptively small because it's on really thin paper. So it's actually still a pretty big book. But yeah, this is a standalone epic fantasy that again takes place in his greater world. As always with Sanderson, there's really cool magic. It sounds just kind of fun adventure story. So I'm excited for this, and one of the reasons I want to read this next is that it leads into, or one of the characters shows up in Oathbringer. Yeah, Oathbringer. So this is book 3 in probably his kind of main big series, the Stormlight Archive. It kind of seems more and more that a lot of the other series start to kind of gravitate towards or kind of orbit this series. So this is book 3. I read The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance and loved them. They're awesome, big, epic, heroic fantasy. They're huge. But I also really like these books because he puts, where is it? Like, he fills them with art. I mean, he doesn't do the art, but they're really cool kind of multimedia. They're filled with art, and like just beautiful stuff. So yeah, I'm loving this series and I'm excited to kind of do this one. Still in the realm of the Cosmere, there's Arcanum Unbounded, which is a short story and novella collection. I'm probably going to do this not as one book. I'm going to read kind of individual stories and move through it that way. I think there's one or two that I'm going to do in this. I think Edge Dancer is one of them, which is like a novella that takes place just before Oathbringer. So I'll do that first. And then, yeah, I'll like bit by bit work through this collection. And then the last Brandon Sanderson is the first book in the Mistborn Era 2, or the Wax and Wane series. I loved the first Mistborn trilogy. It was one of the big, along with another series that I'll talk about in a minute, it was one of the big series that got me back into reading fantasy. And yeah, this is kind of a cool progression. It's kind of like Industrial Revolution and like Wild West setting for fantasy, which I think is kind of a rare setting for fantasy. So I'm really excited for that. They're pretty short for Brandon Sanderson. I think these will be a bit lighter and kind of more adventure, kind of fun stories that way. So yeah, I'm excited to get through this and kind of get more and more up to date with the Cosmere. So yeah, if Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn was one series that really got me back into fantasy, the other series was S.A. Chakraborty's the Daevabad trilogy. So this is the third and final book, The Empire of Gold. Trying to get the cover to show well. This is a pretty big book. It's a good bit bigger than the other two, I think. But yeah, I love the City of Brass and the Kingdom of Copper. They're really cool, kind of vaguely historical fantasy, all about I think 18th century Cairo. But then most of them take place in kind of a mythical city of Jinn called Daevabad. So yeah, I just thought it was I don't know. It was a really kind of surprise hit for me. I loved the setting. My master's and my undergrad are in kind of Middle Eastern history and Islamic studies, so I loved the settings and the kind of that. I feel like that's a part of the world that we don't see in a lot of kind of fantasy. So I was really excited. And yeah, so I'm really excited to finish this book, this series. And then I think her next series is also another Islamic, like medieval Middle East series that's kind of like piracy as well. So that sounds very cool. I'm excited to finish this and to read more of her stuff. Then we have an author that there's two series here. It's N.K. Jemisin. So this is the Obelisk Gate. This is the book 2 in the Broken Earth trilogy. So I read the 5th season, which is the first book, maybe about a year ago. And it's like a book I respected so much. Like its prose, its characters, its magic. It's a really impressive book, but I kind of struggled to connect to it a little bit. I don't really know why, whether it was a pacing thing or a writing style thing. But I'm hoping this one will be a little easier for me to connect to. I think it will, based on kind of how that first one ended. But yeah, this is a really cool series. Kind of a cool kind of earth, kind of geology, magic system. And it's impressive because each book in this series won the Hugo Award, I think. And I think she's the only author to win the Hugo Award 3 times in a row, all for this series. So I'm excited to continue with this. And then the other series by her is the Dreamblood Duology. So this is the second book in that, The Shadowed Sun. The first book was The Killing Moon. And it was kind of the same thing for me as the 5th season. Like really impressive and respectable, but I just kind of struggled to connect a bit. So I'm hoping this one lands a bit better for me. I think it will. And I just read The City We Became, which is the start of another trilogy she's doing, I think, called the Great Cities Trilogy. And that one really landed for me. I think I just connected with that one the most. Her writing style was a lot more kind of fun and quirky in that one. These are all very serious. But yeah, so I'm excited to do more Jemisin because, I mean, she's kind of one of the undisputed kind of giants in the genre right now. Then we have, I don't have the book that's next, but I just finished this one. So this is Dune Messiah, which is the second book in the Dune series. The third one being Children of Dune. So I've read the first 4. There's 6 books. I've read the first 4, which is Dune, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, and God Emperor of Dune. And I'm saying Dune a lot. But yeah, I've read the first 4, and this one when I read, I was like 14 or 15, and I hated it. It's like maybe a third of the size of the first Dune book, but it took me something like triple the time to read because I just found it so dry and boring. And then I reread it. I just finished this like a couple weeks ago, and I loved it. It's like such a cool, perfect, like thematic deconstruction of Dune and deconstruction of like the hero archetype, which Dune does as well, but this one's like very explicit. This one's all about that. This is like the falling action to Dune. So I'm really excited for Children of Dune and to continue through that series. I'll probably do them pretty slowly. I'm in no rush. But yeah, so I'll do Children of Dune, and then over the next year or 2 years, I'll probably work through and finish the first, or the main 6. So yeah. And then there is this beautiful edition of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is all 5 of them. It's a beautiful, like, leather-bound special edition my mom got me a long time ago. So I've read the first 2, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. So I'll probably do the 3rd this year. I might, if I really like it, I might just do all of them because they're really fun, light reads. The humor kind of lands for me. They're really just kind of quick and light, and yeah, just kind of fun adventure, comedy, sci-fi. So yeah, I'll probably do those this year. And then these last 2, The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan. So this is book 3 in the Wheel of Time. I kind of had no interest in the Wheel of Time, and then the show was gonna come out, and it's kind of like, you know, it's this classic in, you know, epic fantasy, so I was like, why not? You might as well try it before the show comes out. So I did. I did a read-along. I didn't organize it, but I was part of a read-along on Instagram for the first one, The Eye of the World. And I liked it. It was a bit slow and the pacing was kind of weird at times, but there were moments of it that were really cool. So I did that, and then I did the second one, The Great Hunt. And kind of same thing, kind of slow. Moments of it were really cool. Moments of it were just kind of dry to me. So I'm gonna try this, The Dragon Reborn, and I think I'll do the 4th one, which I think is The Shadow Rising. At that point, if it's still not landing for me, I might be done with the series, but I'm confident in the 3rd and 4th book. I really hear that this book and the 4th one start to pick up a lot. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag series for me so far, but I'm excited to keep trying. I'll do the first 3 or 4 and then see how I feel. Okay, and then there is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. So this is book 1 in the Burning Kingdoms. So I read this last year and loved it. I'd never heard of Tasha Suri. And then I just saw this cover and I was like, that's really cool. So I looked into it, and it just sounded really cool. It's kind of, I think, like Mughal India. It's like inspired by kind of Mughal India kind of setting and time period. And yeah, it was just really cool. I read it like while I was doing my master's, and it just like was kind of weirdly hitting a lot of the same notes as my research. Like, it's a lot about revolution and like the ethics or the, like, you know, efficacy of violence and the place of violence in revolutions. It's really cool. It's this like sapphic, tense enemies to lovers, but not quite revolution epic fantasy. You know, I'm rambling, but it was really cool. This was an awesome book. So when the sequel, The Oleander Sword, was announced and the cover reveal happened, I'm just so excited. It's one of my most anticipated books for this year. So yeah, I'm really excited to do that. This is one of my favorite, probably currently like ongoing series now. So yeah, I can't wait to do that the second book. I think it's a trilogy. That's it. Yeah, so those are some of the series that I'm working through right now. Yeah, if there's any recommendations you guys have, or if you guys have read any of these and have any opinions, I'd love to hear them. Yeah, thanks for checking in. Hopefully I'll do another video soon, maybe on more fantasy or science fiction. I might even do some nonfiction. We'll see how that does. But yeah, thanks for checking in. Take care, guys.